Hello, Taurus, and welcome to your monthly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and we're going to be taking a look at the month of October. Believe it or not, we're already there. This is Apollo, who just got up from a nap. He wanted to say hello. I'm going to put him down so we can get started here. All right, now that Apollo is resting, we can focus on what you need to look at in the month ahead. This reading can be used for your sun, rising moon, or Venus. It can also be watched during or before the month if you're a planner like me. It's a resource, and it's here for you whenever you need it. Let's begin with channeled messages. Today, we're going to be looking at the tarantula, and this was something that I actually ran across in my day-to-day travels because signs and signals, when we're looking and tuning into our intuition, it's not just dreams or meditation, it pops up in real life. So if you don't like spiders, just look away for a second. Here's what I saw while I was hiking here in the middle of Southern California, a native species of tarantula on a hiking trail. And it was slow, it was minding its own business, and we're going to talk about the symbology of this now. All right, so for those that don't like the spiders, you can look back here. I did a little research and I was wondering why it showed up right now. Well, lo and behold, this is mating season for tarantulas. And so this is a connection to the Lover's card. And for me, the Lover's card is so beneficial. It doesn't matter if you're looking for love and relationships. It basically represents this beautiful magnetic energy that can attract and pull in things that you need, you want, or that you're interested in your life. It's also a chance for networking. We'll talk a little bit about just generally a spider connecting with that silk and web energy. It's basically something that can stick and stay in your life. So this is a time where if you're looking to create new connections, it's going to hopefully be something that has staying power, like Four of Wands energy as well. And of course, the law of attraction, your own positive thoughts, your own sort of charisma and energy. I talked about this in the Sun card as well a few days ago. These things actually draw in like-minded energy. So try to look at the positive, try to put yourself out there in the world. And just like that spider that ran across my trail, you have a chance of bumping into somebody that appreciates you. All right. Next piece. Yes, even tarantulas spin silk, but they don't actually create webs. But because we're looking generally at the spider totem, when I look at this, it is a chance to create a habit in your life that is something that will stick around, something that will make a difference. And the Wheel of Fortune here, I always see spiders as something that get what they're looking for. They're willing to wait, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, but this is a really good time to put yourself into personal development endeavors, work, learning, anything that's going to expand your horizons when it comes to, again, knowledge and money and resources. One of the things that's important here is the patience, followed by swift action. So basically, all spiders know exactly how long and where to sort of wait. And they are patient and they know and they use all their senses. And then when the moment's right, they go in for their meal. They get what they're looking for. So it's a combination of patience. I chose temperance here. It could just as well be like the Hanged Man. And then one of the quickest and swift acting cards here in Tarot, the Knight of Swords. So this is actually a really auspicious symbol. And sometimes things like spiders or tarantulas, they look scary. But to me, all insects, all animals in nature are amazing. So in the same hiking trail, I run into bats sometimes in the evening too. And they're so cute. They're great. They're pollinators. They don't bother me. I don't stick around after dusk, let's put it that way. But I don't mind seeing these animals because they're an important part of the system. And this reminds you here of your ability to create change, to attract opportunities, and to really know when, how, and if you want to take action on something. So good stuff, folks. All right, let's move along to the Celtic Cross. Again, you can use it for Sun, Rising Moon, and Venus. So good to see all of you. Let's see what's in store in this month ahead. All right, let's get into the reading, folks. We're going to begin with your Catalyst card. And you received the nasturtium here in the Catalyst position. As you can see here, this helps you create change and movement in your life. Here's the cool thing with this. Let's just focus on the flower, then we'll read the caption. Many varieties of nasturtium have the ability to trail or to move along like a vine. They don't necessarily have the tendrils, but they just wrap themselves around. They use the leaves and kind of wrap themselves around things. So if this card came through in the reverse state, it means look at something from a different angle, and you have the ability to be victorious and get what you want, just like the spider. This is also a card of leadership, and if we look at the bottom quote, it says, "He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still." This is directly connecting with what you have right here, the Queen of Wands in reverse. So both of these leadership energies reversed, and it's basically saying you're going to better serve yourself by managing your own life. And if you have advice or wisdom to share with others, let them come to you. Set yourself up as a resource, leave an open door, and say, if you ever have any questions about this, I've had some experience with it, feel free to reach out. I'm here. But you don't have to basically dictate how to handle something or argue with someone if they disagree with how you would go about it. It's their life, it's their choice. Good, especially if you're not their boss. If it's just like, your family member or friend, just allow for that kind of separation to be there, and they're more likely to come to you if it's not sort of like pushed upon them. All right, let's now take a look at the cards here and see what's in front of us. Again, this is going to help us through the next 6 to 8 weeks. I like to just first look at any sort of trends here, specifically these two, near future and outcome, making a decision, and then what we just talked about, taking an initiative or a lead and doing what's right for you, not necessarily having to convince others or explain yourself till the cows come home. It's going to be important to just kind of like pull back a little bit there. You're overcoming a little bit of grief or some difficulties, and there's a lot of swords this month, and I'll help you get through them. The good news is there's movement with respect to any challenges. All right, let's take it card by card, beginning with, speaking of swords, the Two of Swords. This is such a beautiful card because it presents a different view of the Two of Swords. We can see here that instead of a full-on blindfold, it's just a scarf, and you can imagine that he's just starting to peer out and see the world. And get past that feeling of being blocked or being uncertain or being in the dark. And so this is really a card of enlightenment. But what has to happen oftentimes with the Two of Swords is doing a little bit of soul searching. Whenever the eyes are closed, you go within for the answers. So look at your own life experiences and think to yourself, what has worked best in the past? Or where have I had a misstep? Can I avoid that? So past experiences can help inform the present. Research and information, of course, can help. And that's something that I normally would advise with a traditional Two of Swords. The more you know, the less afraid you are of trying something. And then we have a sly fox whispering into his ear. Here's where the information and looking at your past is going to help you. If somebody's telling you something and it doesn't sit right with you, trust yourself. And really make sure that you have vetted out any advisors in your life to make sure that it's the wisdom of the fox, not the sly nature of the fox that's coming through, because you could get two different characters for that. All right. Ultimately, with the Two of Swords, it's usually a shade of gray, something that's not black and white, and you have to lean into your own experiences, or as we've talked about here at great length, on research and data, and make the best leap of faith that you can. The good news, the great news, dare I say, is that we have one of the best cards that you could get to move through that, the Magician. As I looked at this card, there were two direct messages from Spirit. The first is an affirmation. You can do this. Yes, you can do it, because some of you are asking, will I be able to figure this out or do this? And it's also saying you don't have to be perfect, nor do you have to be an expert. The Magician is not a specialist, he's a generalist. He can pull from all the different elements. And so this is more about saying, I can bring it all together in a way that maybe others couldn't. Think of a conductor, because he's got his baton, right? The Magician. One of the tools is the wand. And so basically all he has to do is pick that up and maybe pull together a bunch of experts to get this done. So your job is basically to see the overarching tapestry of something and be the glue or be the sort of web, pulling back at our spider totem, to make this all stick, okay? So Your ability to see the pattern and create the action is what's important. And then also to focus and be discerning in which of your skills you're going to pull together in this moment. But you don't have to be perfect and you don't have to be an expert. All right? Your wisdom, your intuition, and your instincts are what make you so powerful and valuable in this moment in time. As we look in the deep past, we have the Ten of Swords. What I love about this illustration is the person here is not underneath the swords. The swords instead represent something that you want to avoid, a cycle. They even look like a big old circle here. So here are the messages with respect to the Ten of Swords in reverse. First and foremost, don't fear failure. Failure only occurs when you don't learn or when you repeat the same thing again and again or don't appreciate the lessons presented. So as long as you are basically each step of the journey being grateful and soaking in all of the lessons that the universe has to offer, you're not failing. It doesn't matter if it takes 2 or 3 attempts to get what you want to get done finished. As long as you eventually finish your goal, accomplish your goal, then it's good. That's a win. The other thing here is if you are so afraid of not doing something that you don't take the initial action, I talked about this in a daily card read recently. It shuts a door before it was even able to be built. You're sort of like completely putting a stop on a path that could have been really successful. So don't fear failure. Learn from setbacks and you'll never fail. All right, that's lesson number 1. The other one is it's not about perfectionism or being perfect. That's really a subjective thing anyway, and it's maybe not even something that's easy to accomplish, nor may it be the purpose of this lifetime, I would argue. I think that we come here to experience and to learn, and sometimes, that is by not getting what we want. Sometimes it's by hitting it out of the park, but don't worry so much about that. You don't have to be perfect. Iterations and eventually getting there, like I said earlier, that's just fine. Very few people ace something on the first time, okay? It's a journey. Embrace the journey. And finally, take care of yourself. This can represent burnout. So as humans on this planet, we aren't like a superhero in a movie. We have a finite store of energy. We need rest. We need to fuel our body properly, and we need to cut out anything in our life that's anchoring us down. So this is a time to really hunker down and focus on your health and your well-being, okay? A lot of messages there, but here's the thing, it's in the past. So if any of these things held you back, they don't want to be here anymore. If you're willing to release them, you can release the teacher of pain, and I've talked about this. There's many ways to learn. Pain is not the only one, nor is it the best. So today is a day where we're going to release that and say, thanks for the lessons. I'm ready for something better and brighter and more fun. Okay? Speaking of which, we're moving from one 10 to another, and this time it's upright, and we have the 10 of Cups. This is why I want you to embrace opportunities, because one of those is love. And that came through in the form of your totem today as well, the tarantula, believe it or not. So the 10 of Cups represents friendship, community, love and abundance. It's also just this really nice moment where you should celebrate. And no matter what it took to get to this moment, it's worth it. It may make it even richer and deeper if you had to try a couple of times, like I said. There could be love and partnership or marriage in the works for many of you. And some of you are just at a point where people are more interested in being in your company, around you. The only thing that could be holding this back is this. In the crowning position, we have the 3 of Swords. Like the 10 of Swords, it too is reversed, but it's representing a moment where you're asking yourself, am I ready to move beyond this, to bloom again, or am I holding on to the past? It feels like there's a little bit of healing, a little bit of a release. For some of you, you could even be triggered by a person or event that's happening, maybe even an anniversary or something like that. And this is just a moment to acknowledge that and say, it's going to be all right. I don't have to you can't let it all go at once, right? It takes time to move on. I do see in your environment, though, that this will happen sooner than later, the 6 of Swords. But this month, Taurus, you guys are dealing with a lot of emotions. It's interesting that, Cups is emotions, but so is Swords. They're just kind of different sides of the coin. Swords is the more difficult suit to travel through. Cups can be a lot more fun, but both are going to make you stronger and help you out. And I feel like seeing things from a new perspective is another big thing that wants to come through for you. In fact, nice segue, we have the Seven of Cups next. So this is the question. What do you want? What are you looking for? The universe is asking you, how can I help you? I can help you more if I know what you want, and more importantly, what you don't want. So it's saying, explore all options, look at the sunny side of the equation, and once you make a choice, just like this plane here, things are going to start coming towards you a lot faster and a lot clearer. But if you don't know, then it's sort of like leaving things up to chance or to fate. And it's much better to be an active co-participant and co-creator in your own destiny rather than just wait for something to happen. If we take a look at your environment, we'll talk more about this in a second, but we have the Six of Swords here. And your traditional Six of Swords would be a boat with things moving. So the thing that's going to basically be the wind in the sails for this boat is the decision. And that's why I'm really encouraging you to take a look at what you want. That'll move things along faster, okay? First, let's look at where you're at here. Again, just like the Two of Swords, we have a card here where things are starting to get clearer. The two blindfolded cards came through. The good news for you is that this card is reversed, so that's basically the antithesis of what you see in the card. So we see someone here that's covering their eyes if we just look at the top. We also see at the bottom this path of swords or path of thorns where it's like, I don't want to go there. So with the reversal of this, it's saying, I'm not afraid to look at what hasn't worked. I'm not going to get caught up in that. I'm willing to look in different directions. I'm not afraid of ambiguity. And these are the things that will help you out. So trusting yourself enough to know that things will fall together. Why will they kind of come together? Well, because you're the magician, because you're going to find an order, find a tapestry, and you're going to pull from all of your experiences to make it work. Additionally, you got the Ten of Cups, which is a card of networking. So there's a lot of people around you that can be there, that can support you. And this is a time to reach out to that, especially if you don't have all of the answers or just need a little bit of confirmation, or need someone else to help shine a light with you, okay? So this is a card of awakening. Maybe not everything is clear yet, but it is a card of awakening, and it is a curious card. And I think that curiosity, the inquisitive nature, and not being afraid to look at things in the past that might have scared you, that's going to be what helps you this time really not just succeed, but like really complete a karmic cycle, okay? So that's why I'm like, don't worry about this so much. Focus on letting go, focus on clarity, and then you're starting to move on, move forward. We have the Six of Swords here in the reverse state. So for some of you, there's a question, where should I go next? And we see the well in this particular card. So for some of you, it's like, I think of a wishing well. Is your wish being fulfilled on the path that you're currently headed on? If not, change up the direction, right? For some of you, there could be an overdue move. Maybe you've been waiting for a while to decide, should I move, should I stay? This is a chance to really decide on direction, which direction suits you best. When it comes to business and relationship, there could be some sort of a long distance component to it. It will also be about navigating that, okay? But ultimately, Six of Swords is moving forward, moving on, creating some traction. And that's why the decision on what you want is going to be so vital. And that's why earlier I was saying, what is it that you want? The universe really wants you to land on one thing in this moment in time, and that's going to help you. As we look at hopes, fears, and opportunities, I actually pulled this exact card for a daily card read recently, and I'm going to re-impart some of the messages from that. I mentioned when I saw this, things are better than you think. In this card, you can even see support coming through. Have you noticed a common theme about all of the eyes being closed today? So one thing that I would really encourage you to do is not be afraid to see. We have to know, we have to recognize things in order for you to see both the challenges and also the beautiful opportunities on the horizon. Friendship and love and support has been coming through time and again, but with all of these eyes closed, it's hard to perceive that. So make sure that you're looking around and acknowledging that. Now, some of you may feel like you're not being seen. This can cut both directions. So if you are in a relationship, if you're at a job, or if you're engaged in some sort of a group thing where people aren't saying thank you, they don't notice you're there, you're just feeling like you're blending in, this would be something to overcome this month. It is important to feel like you're a part of something, right? So advocate for that recognition, because one of the things that's lacking in this spread is pentacles. And it's easy for me to see why, because blindfolded, blindfolded, blindfolded. And so with those cards, with three of the main cards here in the spread, showing someone that is either fully or partially obstructed when they're looking, there could just be some sort of a lack of receptivity or reciprocity. So I'm advocating for you to find a place or an energy or an opportunity where you are appreciated and you feel that reciprocity flowing. You deserve that, okay? Nine of Swords is not as bad as it seems, but what adds to the stress or the pressure a lot of times is only focusing on the critical, going to the worst case scenario, or kind of like repeating a little bit of this, burning yourself out. This is usually from not getting enough sleep, okay? So make sure that you're getting quality and quantity there, and do what you need to do in order to have the proper support and self-care, particularly when it comes to heavy emotions. All right, that being said, your outcome is pretty auspicious, folks. We have the Queen of Wands. She usually gets what she wants. She's in reverse. She's going to stand for what matters. She's going to hold her ground. She's looking at the future, the innovation piece coming through loud and clear. And she has a way, just like the Magician, of making things work. There's a couple of things that are absent in this card. I'm going to pull the traditional one so we can see it. But while I'm doing that, I'll talk about it. One of the key things is oh good, it's right here. In the corner, you'll see the black cat, but there's actually three things that I want to talk about. So we have the cat, we have the sunflower, we have the desert. So basically, these three things represent important components of you in this moment. You can rise up. The black cat is like a cat that has 9 lives. So it keeps coming back until it accomplishes what it needs to. It lands on its feet. So even when challenges happen or you're thrown a curveball, you can usually land on your feet and figure things out. Intuition, of course, is a part of that as well. The sunflower, being able to be a leader because it follows the sun. So other people will take the cue from your leadership if you're ready to lead. And the desert, she's able to have all of this sort of prosperity despite being in a desert. So even if there hasn't been a lot of opportunities, that desert can be a desert of opportunities, a dearth of options. And what you're basically doing is saying, well, I'll just make something. If it doesn't exist, maybe I have to create a job, a company, a path. I'm not afraid to innovate, to think outside of the box. The only thing that we want to be cognizant of with this card in the reverse state is that it can be so stubborn or decisive or closed-minded that it misses something. So there is a desire and an encouragement here to be open-minded and to look beyond the obvious. She's got that telescope and she's going to look out at the horizon, okay? That, my friends, is the main portion of the reading, but now we're going to expand it to get a little bit more clarity on health, wealth, love, and destiny. And we'll begin here with your health card. It says, from fear to fuel. Let's look at this a little bit closer. So we're looking at health, mind, body, and spirit energy. From fear to fuel, the fact that it's reversed tells me you're already more on the fuel side than the fear side. And it says, stand still and own your power. So we got one of the ultimate boss cards at the end. And she was willing to stand up for what matters. So this definitely connects with that. I talked about the blindfolds coming off here, and that makes sense as well. You had multiple cards where the person needs to look beyond, and they keep kind of covering their eyes. So this is a month to open your heart, open your mind, and imagine. Remember, we talked about the law of attraction. Just imagine that the good can happen too. So rather than projecting out, probably not going to do this. Instead, think, well, what if it does work? Why can't I do this? What do I need to know or learn or understand in order to make this happen? And why haven't I done that yet? So create a sort of plan by turning the questions inside out. When there's a fear, think the opposite. Well, what if I win? What if I succeed? What if people like it? What if it's better than I thought? If it is, what am I going to do then? Or if I need more information on how to do this, what am I going to do to make that happen? So create this new sort of reckoning and get into that energy of feeling impassioned and kind of fired up or fueled up here. All right, let's look at all of the energy around health and see what else we need to be focusing on. First of all, that word focus comes through loud and clear with the Seven of Cups. Some of you may have a hard time concentrating. It could be because there's a lot of activity around you. When we look in the environment, this can be like traffic sounds. This can be people coming in and out because it's a traveling card. This could be you moving around so much that you have a hard time sort of figuring out, wait a second, what was I doing? So when I used to have a corporate job, I've talked about this before, but I would have, no exaggeration, of the 8, sort of working hours that you're supposed to have, probably 7 of them at least were all meetings. So I was lucky to grab 45 minutes during the day to just actually answer emails or think or eat. And then I had to stay late because that's when all the meetings were done. And then I had to do the real work, and that was crazy. So some of you may just be running around for no reason, or because people are disorganized or just like having meetings. So you can pull back and say, I have to focus. I have to say no to this one. I'll come back later, but I have nothing to report right now until I can figure this out. Give me 5, give me 10, or can I send a proxy? You don't have to go to everything all the time. So that's one of the things here, is just kind of to limit extracurricular, limit noise. And I think that's going to help you with being able to focus. It's also veering into the career energy, or the wealth energy, but these two go hand in hand, because if you're unhappy, if you're working too hard and you can't focus, then your health starts to go in a different direction, and we don't want that. The other thing that I'm looking at after focus is this sort of healing energy of the Three of Swords. In the reverse state, it's getting better, but it takes time, folks. Healing doesn't happen overnight. And so give yourself time to integrate the lessons, forgive yourself, forgive others, or simply to put your energy in a different path. We do see the rose that's eventually going to grow around these swords, and we see the promise of healing and a new foundation. But time and clarity is what's going to be necessary to allow that to happen. Get your, this is so clear. Get your eyes checked if you haven't had an optometrist appointment in a while, or ophthalmologist. It might be time for some glasses. There might also be something in your life that you're trying to kind of tuck underneath the rug. Just by closing your eyes, it doesn't make something go away. So again, this is about either acknowledging or asking or getting information about something that you need to know, or possibly just getting an eye exam. Otherwise, the cards are pretty good, actually. That's about all that I'm seeing here, is something that needs to be addressed, and then focus and healing. Those are the main energies there. Ultimately, though, releasing the fear is going to be important so you can get back into that fuel energy. Let's take a look now at wealth. We have defend to the end the worthwhile. Well, this is pretty clear. This is connected to what we were talking about with that boss card, the Queen of Wands reversed. You either are going to stand up and fight for something that you care about, or if there's too many blocks in front of you, or if you simply can't see a path, you're going to create it. You're going to innovate. So one way, shape, or form, something's going to get done, and you're willing to fight for it. So the defense piece on this card has to do with, for some of you, your legal rights. Perhaps it's intellectual property or something else under the letter of the law, and something has been, a line has been crossed, and you need to stand up for that and say, this is my property, this is my brand, this is my idea. By all means, fight for that. This could also be, for some of you, simply the need to defend an idea when someone is trying to shoot it down as well. So whatever it is right now, you have a chance to stand up and create the necessary action to protect what matters. Finally, one last thing here is like Seven of Swords energy. So if someone is trying to get away with something, you're going to, in the best way possible, call attention to that and put an end to it. Okay? Now let's take a look at energy around wealth. So those were really important messages around wealth, because fighting and defending and protecting what matters, couldn't think of a better energy to come through with your resources. All right, your biggest asset this month when we're looking at wealth is your network. So the people around you have a wealth of knowledge, experience, and support to lend to you. Don't be afraid to accept it. That's one of the most important and the first messages that I see here. Never underestimate your skill set. Again, expertise can actually, you might have a ton of experts around you, but it's the person that can put it all together, that can see the pattern, that is the most powerful. And You have that capacity this month. So whether you're an expert or not, that doesn't matter. Stand up in that role of a conductor and bring it all into focus. Speaking of that, focusing your energies and your efforts is important. That will help you avoid burnout. If other people want to ignore stuff, this is when you get bossy and stand up and say, no, we've avoided this for too long. Here's my issue. Here's my suggestion. Are you on board? Like, you really want to be firm and positive, and come forward with a solution. This is especially important because we saw the Seven of Cups coming through. You're going to come through with clarity. And instead of having all of these options in front of people, you're just going to pick one or two and say, this is what we need to focus on. I think that's part of the problem too, is there's too many cooks in the kitchen, too many things on the table, too many things going on. And as the leader, as the boss, as the conductor, you're going to pull it all together and kind of let them know what matters, okay? Ultimately, as we look at this, maybe taking it outside of the lens of work, there's a couple of bigger questions here. One is, are you doing in your life what brings joy to you? I talk about this, I feel like, so much, but it comes through a lot. It really does with this. The Three of Swords is usually feeling like, I don't want this. I don't feel like I'm a part of this. This doesn't match. You deserve to be happy. The tarantula came through as a really strong totem today that wants you to have that feeling of love and joy. So if you're not feeling it now, you have the capacity to move toward it. You have boss energy and you have possibility energy today coming through. All that's necessary is movement, maybe a change of direction. And that's absolutely okay. So whether you're a student, whether you're working, or whether you're retired, the big question this month when we're looking at your resources and your career, or your sort of where you're putting your energy is, does it make me happy? Am I engaged or am I bored? And is it moving me further along on my plan of life? And if I don't have that plan, like what I'm trying to do, let's spend some time this month figuring that out too. The good news here is there's a lot of people and there's a lot of options. So this is a time to open up and see what the world has to offer, okay? Ultimately, it's good, and I do like that we land on the boss card. She's also saying, look at the horizon, look beyond what's right here, look beyond the past. There's some good stuff coming. She is one of the best cards for, again, a phoenix rising or innovating or surprising people. So you too can surprise yourself if you allow yourself to be open, all right? Now let's take a look at love and relationships. And in this particular card here, we have abundance. Yay for that. That doesn't surprise me at all since we talked about the tarantula earlier. The card is reversed, so there could be a lack of faith or trust in the abundance, but we're going to move past that as we read this. It says, Sacred Buffalo, cloak me in your wisdom, keep me warm through the storms of life, fill my life with goodness, teach me the way in gratitude and prayer. I think gratitude out of that long poem is the thing to focus on. Be grateful for every experience, both the positive and the challenging, and open yourself up to receive. A cup or a chalice can only receive when it's upright. Thankfully, when we looked at your recent past, we actually did have the Ten of Cups in the upright position. But the things that could close off or obscure what otherwise is coming toward you is all of the cards with the eyes that are blocked. Let's dig a little deeper into 3 different relationship types. Those inner loving relationship, looking for love, or that are single and happy. For those in a present relationship, the most important thing, I can see it here, beyond the healing piece, which we'll talk about, is seeing the other partner and feeling seen and appreciated by the other partner. The gratitude portion, saying thank you. Really feeling like both of you are holding one another in that gratitude is key. And it says, keep me warm through the storms of life. We have one of those storms of life coming through right there. But that's what partnerships are all about. Better and worse, and then being there for each other when there is a challenge. Okay, let's just go through this real quick here. Two of Swords, possibly because of travel, because of being busy, there's been not enough time to have, face-to-face, heart-to-heart conversations. That's going to be the first thing. I still feel like there's a spark because this represents connection. But if you're not making time to be together, or if you're distracted, it's difficult to reignite the spark. For some of you, there's been a really significant life change. It could have been a death of a loved one. The Ten of Swords and Three of Swords are mourning if I've ever seen it. That could be the loss here, and this could be you coping with the loss. This can also be burnout and anxiety or feelings of just unhappiness because of something else. It doesn't have to be the relationship. And in this case, you have to lean on each other, right? Ultimately, the two most important cards, Seven of Cups and Queen of Wands, they are positive. It's clarifying things, it's understanding things, asking questions, and it's, again, being open for that partner to come to you, keeping an open door and an open heart. I think if you can do that, you can navigate anything. Some of you, though, have one foot out the door. I'm going to be honest with this. This could be a breakdown in communication, fighting. This could be a decision like enough is enough. And this is someone that's already out the door. So depending on where you're at, if it's an external factor, you have to lean on each other and communicate. If it's just life in general, again, the sort of seeing beyond the present situation is important. For those of you that have just decided you're ready, you're going to be okay. The Queen of Wands can land on her feet because, as I showed in the traditional deck, she has the cat there. So no matter how you shake it up this month, I think things are going to be all right, but you have to move past this deep past issue, which could be health or burnout or lack of communication, and this present situation, which is exacerbating things a little bit. Other than that, we're okay. I think simple thank yous and I love you, and basically saying in whatever words feel right that you see, recognize, and appreciate your partner, that can go so far in rebuilding, mending, and strengthening the bonds between you. For those of you that are looking for love, I'm not so sure now is the best time. Can you find it? Yes. It's probably the Queen of Wands here in the long term. I think there's a lot of things to sort out first. Self-care, general happiness and fulfillment, decision on what matters for you, and also what kind of partner you're looking for. Do you want to move or stay in a current job or living situation? And also just stress management. So those things take priority over the partnership stuff, because at the end of the day, that's basically your foundation, the foundation upon which the partnership has to sit. And we don't want a house of cards there. It has to be firm, all right? But if you've done the work and you're looking, it's eventually on the horizon here. It may be towards the end of the month here, especially with all of this stuff. And then we have a fire sign, the Queen of Wands, coming through. All right, if you're happily single, it's the perfect time to be happily single because of all of the aforementioned. And it feels like it's a really important time for healing and movement. Some of you are going to take that first step. You're going to make a decision and you're going to take a step. Things are going to expand and you're going to start to feel that sense of confidence. And that's the big win here in this moment. The other thing is some of you you're like, I have enough friends. I have enough connections. I'm happy. I'm good. And you're not really looking for anything else. Ironically, the law of detachment is working in your favor because your eyes are closed, your eyes are closed, your eyes are closed. You're focusing on the internal stuff, like I was telling those that are single and looking. And then because you're not really focusing, someone really compelling comes in on the horizon. And so in doing that, that could be a good friend. It could be even a love interest. But what's great about it is you can take it or leave it. And so I still see a partnership opportunity on the horizon for you. Your detachment is the attractive force on that. So keep focusing on the things that matter most. And that would be just kind of like, a cherry on top. All right, let's move on to your destiny message here. In the destiny place, we have the Earth Angel card. I love this particular illustration. It says, "Thank you, angels, for inspiring me to be more like you." There's a recognition here that you are more than just your body, more than just this lifetime, and that you start to realize that you have the power to change, to manifest, to really enjoy this lifetime when you stop taking everything so seriously. It's sort of like, again, going back to the tapestry message that came through with this, seeing it as ebbing and flowing and being a part of something bigger. We can't change a past decision as much as we wish we could. We all wish we had a time machine sometimes to just take back even 5 minutes ago or 5 days ago or 5 weeks ago. Think of how much easier things would be. There's no edit switch in life. We have to keep going. It's always a live stream, right? Life is messy, it's imperfect, but that's also what makes it so fun. So try to have some fun with that and also realize that you are connected and protected by your guides and by your angels. And this is a time to pay attention. I really love that today's totem came from an everyday experience. I use so many different things in my monthlies. It just depends where I'm at for each sign. But again, I mentioned that sometimes you will see numbers, you'll hear a song, you'll hear a phrase that someone said, or you'll see something that just feels captivating and you're like, that's a message, that's a sign. It is. So look all around, you're protected and you're connected. That's what I get with this Destiny card. And that's going to help you with all of the challenges, like the decision-making process, the fear of the unknown, also the ability to just feel like I can get out of this. I see a way through this, right? Because I'm paying attention to the signs. All right, now let's take a look at sun, rising, and moon messages for all of you that are cross-watching or just want a little bit more information in that part of the chart. Let's see what's coming through. Sun, rising, and moon. All right, we've got some exciting cards for all three. Let's begin with messages for Taurus Sun. I'm so happy to see you coming through here with the King of Pentacles. First Pentacles card in this entire reading. With the card in the reverse state, it's saying you may need to ask for something. This is about making sure that you're not being taken for granted, especially when I'm looking at it from your perspective. Sometimes as an external person, it can be an individual that's taking too much, but because this came through for you, it's really saying make sure that you ask. Don't just hope that people can intuit what you need. Put it on the table and say, this is necessary, this is what I need, we're lacking in this space. It's good to know what's necessary for success. The other thing here is that you might be deciding to liquidate, sell, invest resources and energy so that you can move something from one place to another, so that you can open up something in your life. So some of you might also be deciding to renovate your house, to splurge a little bit on, creating a nicer nest around you, or a nest egg for those of you that are investing. So just be wise about that. There's always a general warning on this one to not go too far when it comes to spending. But I do like that many of you are thinking about how can I improve myself, my life, my quality of life right now. And there's a reminder from Spirit to speak up when it comes to things. Ask for what you need so that you have a better chance of receiving that. All right, moving on to rising, we have the Tower. The Tower is reversed. I'm cool with the Tower in reverse, as many of you know, because this gives you a chance to affect the general change. So we see someone here that is being thrown out of the plane. So for many of you, there is this understanding that the direction in which you were headed, it just wasn't you, or it's come to a close. And now remember, I mentioned this, don't fear what's next, because the Queen of Wands, I pulled up the new card, we need the traditional one. The Queen of Wands has the cat can land on its feet. So you can land on your feet in this new change. What you want to be thinking and communicating during this is, how can I make the most of this and what's next? You can avoid a tower in general simply by always having a plan B and C so that you can activate those when something comes to a close. Don't put all your eggs in one basket in any part of your life. Always have a backup plan, a next sort of thing that you're going to focus on, and that's going to ease your fear and your anxiety quite a bit as well. The Tower in reverse, other things that it represents in your life besides change is, for some of you, a move. You just might be in the middle of a move. And so take care of yourself. Try not to rush if you're doing that. A transition in your life, loss of a partner, something other that's significant that represents a change. It's like a metamorphosis, right? And so be kind to yourself as you go through that change, because typically Tower events, no matter how big they are, always end up bringing us to a better path. A Tower can also be a proposal of marriage, a new baby. It can be winning the lottery. It can be very positive things. It will invariably change the tapestry of your life, which is why we see the sort of crumbling energy in any Tower card. So embrace the possibilities, speak up, and move with the energy of change. Open yourself up with that law of attraction to positive changes that really shake your world in the best possible way. And that's how you can pull in a better version of the Tower, if you will. Okay, let's move on to the moon sign. We received here the Two of Cups for Taurus moon, and I love it. This is nicely connected to the tarantula that came through earlier because it was out looking for love. Two of Cups, as you know, can be love, it can be friendship, it can be business, but it is significant, it is mutual. And so if you've been looking for any of those or all of those, this is a time to really put your energy into meeting new people. There's so many ways to do that. Activities that you like, sports and special interests, volunteer work, church and worship, all of that stuff works. It's also business things, professional organizations, saying yes to a friend's invitation to a party, a wedding, or a celebration. There's so many ways to network, whatever works for you. I would say yes to some of those things this month because you have a chance for a chance encounter. In fact, in my dreams last night, I didn't incorporate it because there's only so much I can put into those slides at the beginning, but it's coming through now. I saw someone come up and start an awkward conversation with you. It was almost like a line saying, do I know you from somewhere? And you're like, you clearly didn't recognize them. But instead of kind of going with it and realizing that, hey, this is a chance to just see if I have a vibe with this person, you're like, no, I don't think so, but nice meeting you. And the person walked away and you're like, oh, that's what that was about. So if someone has a weird, awkward start to a conversation and you have a vibe, like a spark with them, just go with it and see what they have to say. Say, no, but where are you from or whatever? You kind of look for, I don't know, let's talk for a second. Give them the in that they were looking for if you feel the spark, okay? Because I was like, don't cut someone off too far if they've reached out. Sometimes people are just awkward. And, the first few words are not going to be indicative of everything. So that's something kind of cool. I did see a chance encounter for those that are looking for love. All right, that, my friends, is the main component of the reading. We have one more piece, which I really, really like here. This is your chance to ask me something that you haven't already received an answer for. So here are all the cards that I've pulled for you so far, and it paints a pretty decent picture for the month ahead, but I'm sure you have at least one more thing that you're dealing with. So take a moment, meditate on that question, and I'm going to shuffle the cards and see what Spirit has to say. Well, it's pretty promising here. So again, we're looking at the final card. The final card for you was an ace. It's the Ace of Wands in reverse. And there's a couple of things that this card represents. As a yes or no, it's a yes, ... There's some ellipses after it. It's saying don't overthink. So literally wands can be dealing with thoughts. And sometimes we discount a thought before it has a genesis or a chance to grow. So give it a chance to find its ground and move and grow. This is also saying don't fake it. So this is passion personified, in this case by a snake, but the wand in and of itself can just represent passion. So if you feel passionate about an opportunity, go for it. If you don't, why are you putting time and energy into that? In a relationship, okay, so maybe there's an intellectual spark, but if you're not feeling and you're looking for love, you also have to have the sort of physical spark too. So if that's not there, the sensuality, that can't really be faked. And if it doesn't happen after a 2 or 3 or 4 dates, it's like it's never going to come through. So trust it and don't fake that. Also, if someone is too far removed on your ideology, this could be two really stubborn people, because we had the Ace and the Queen of Wands. This could just be people that are looking at things in two different directions. So that's what I would say here. Don't overthink things. It's either going to work or it isn't. It's either going to feel good or it isn't. And at the end of the day, you have something exciting here on the horizon. So you don't want to waste time on things that aren't a match. All right. And speaking of that, this is kind of like a match, a spark. So also put some time and energy into things that spark that passion in your life. Beautiful reading, Taurus. Before we kind of wrap up, I want to impart the important thing here, as I kind of like am giving you a summary, which I don't always do. All of those kind of like eyes closed cards where the people were covering their vision or their field of vision. Don't be afraid to look. There's some good things on the horizon. The Queen of Wands is the sort of like final exclamation point. She's like, it's going to be okay. Let's keep looking towards the future. Let's not fix our gaze on the past, on anything that didn't work out. There's so much more to love. There's so many people around you that love you. Not only that, there's so much action that's happening here with the Six of Swords and movement. This is your chance to embrace that. Okay, Taurus? Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. If you liked this, and I hope you did, do me a favor. For new viewers, consider subscribing. It's 100% free. It just gives you updates when I post new videos. You can control how frequently you get them by clicking on the bell icon and selecting all. That way you can make sure you never miss something. It's also free to give a thumbs up. That lets me know in no uncertain terms that you enjoyed this. It also helps YouTube kind of like connect this to other people that might like it as well. You can also make sure that you never miss any of my postings by following me on social media. I'm on a lot of different networks. It's always my full name at Nicholas Ashbaugh. If you need clarification, you can go to my website or click on the main channel page, and there's a little thing where all the links are listed. A reminder here that I do not give private readings. Invariably, there are imposters that will pop up and offer you things or ask for cash and stuff like that. That's not how I work. It's always optional if you want to support the channel. It helps, but I'm never going to force that, and I'll never direct message you. If you want to show support, you can hit the thanks button, you can do a super sticker, super chat, or you can become a member. All optional, all help. Thank you so much in advance for anybody that did that. My posting schedule is Monday, Thursday, and Friday. I live stream on Sundays, and I do 1 card readings every single day. All right, that brings this reading to a close. I wish you all the best now and always. Take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.